Good evening, everyone. This is the Ayer Conservation Commission. It is Thursday, April 27th, 2023. Commissioners in attendance this evening, we have Jenna Maya as member, George Bacon as member, Jess Gugino, member clerk, Mark Phillips, vice chair, myself, John Schmallenberger as chair, Heather Hampson as conservation agent. Welcome to all of you. Confirmation of agenda.
No changes.
Motion to approve the agenda as written.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Passes unanimously. Approval of the meeting minutes for April 13th, 2023. Anyone have any additional changes or comments?
Not to the minutes that were sent out in the meeting packet. Those were lovely.
Those were lovely.
Those look pretty correct to me.
Okay. All good? All right. Motion to approve the meeting minutes for April 13th, 2023 as written.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Passes unanimously. Public input. I'm going to guess that since there's no public here, other than who should be here,
The funny thing with that, besides the Board of Selectmen, all the other boards that have public input on them, I don't think there's ever public input, because the Board of Health does it too, and it's hardly ever any public input on their agenda.
CPC, we do it too, and we did have one recently, yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, I like it. I think it's good to have.
I like it.
It's just funny.
Okay, and our first item this evening is a request for extension, DEP file number 100-0321, 323 West Main Street Ice House Partners. Would you join us, please?
Absolutely. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. So, you wanna? How would you like me to start, or
Pardon me?
would you like me to start, or?
Sure. Yep.
I don't know how many of you. I mean, I recognize some of the faces, so you've seen us here a number of times. Ice House Partners. We run the hydroelectric power plant, the dam.
And you should state your name for the
Lisa
public
Marino,
record.
Vice President, Ice House Partners, 323 West Main Street. So a few years ago now, I'm thinking 4 or 5 years ago, we worked with the Shirley Conservation Commission and Air Conservation Commissions jointly to set up these orders of conditions that we keep open to manage and keep communication lines open, all of our activities in, on, and around the river, which are regular, given the work that we're doing. So this is my request to just extend the order that's been in place for years now.
How long ago was that? 5 years?
The original,
The original one was April 23rd, 2009. That's when it was issued. Yeah.
it was amended, amended the last time I think that we went through this to add the mowing restrictions and things like that. So the letter that I sent, I tried to summarize some of the other regulatory bodies that we answer to on a regular basis. When we started, it was 27 agencies, but we've narrowed it down a bit.
Yeah.
So the kinds of things that this would cover, obviously, if you've been by the dam lately, there's a huge tree caught on it. So at some point when the flows go down, naturally we'll go out and remove the tree. So it's things like that, regular maintenance.
I think the last time that you were here was for some tree removals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that was part of the last go-round. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was
Exactly.
pretty new then.
Yep.
The tree that's stuck now, that wasn't one of the ones we missed, right? Did it come upstream?
Yeah, it just came down and got caught.
Okay.
We actually try to work with the local fire departments when they do their water training. They'll come and sometimes they'll help us get the stuff off the dam, and they treat it like rescues and things.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Anything else?
That's it.
Commissioners have any comments? George, you have any? No? Ben? Jess?
Let me think.
What do you, Mark?
Good.
standard.
No concerns.
Any concerns or comments, Heather?
No, I'm just trying to figure out when when it would be extended to, because I didn't put that date in, so I
was
left
gonna-
that out.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah, so usually it's a 3-year extension.
Yeah.
Correct?
3 years?
Yeah. So I didn't put that, I had the rest of it filled out, I just left that one blank, but that's the front page, I can fix
Yeah.
that before I.
Is it 3 years from its expiration, or is it 3 years
3 years
from
from
tonight?
the, I think it's 3 years from the that's the other question I have. Is it 3 years from the meeting, or is it 3 years from the expiration date? I don't know, can you, I don't think they can extend it, because they vote on it tonight, so I'm trying to see when I don't know when the other times you came before the commission to
Can you
figure that
stipulate
out.
that it's from the expiration?
It looks like they were all done from the expiration date.
I think that's my memory as well,
Yeah.
but I wasn't 100%
Yeah, looking at the
sure.
dates you have listed here,
Yeah.
it's from the expiration date, so I guess we can do that.
Yeah. What's the
I was
expiration?
terrified I was going to miss my window to extend it, because I did miss it the last time with the town of Shirley by like 2 days.
Oh, no.
And so we had to go through the
Whole process again.
thing
As long as you have your written request in before it expires, that's all you got to do.
But I'm
Okay,
gave
so
myself
we're
ample time.
7/23/2026, okay.
7/23/2026?
Yeah, and that I guess was due to COVID extensions is why it was done to July.
Any other discussion?
So are you saying we're going to extend it from the July date?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it looks like all the other ones were from, so they were from the actual expiration date, so.
So if we make the motion to specifically say 3 years to July 23rd, 2026, you got everything covered.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, is there a motion to grant an extension on the orders of conditions? DEP file number 100-0321323 West Main Street until, or 3 years, for 3 years, starting July 23rd? Is that even close?
July 31.
July 23rd? Isn't
July
it?
23.
7/23.
Oh, 31, you're right, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's 31?
It is 31, I messed up when I wrote this, I did 23, it is
July
31.
31, 2023.
Yes, 2023. 3 years from that. Is that clear as mud?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
This is
nay.
why that's why we can
Passes
change
unanimously.
this page.
I have one quick question
Sure.
for you. Last week, there were a couple of boats in the water. They looked like they were taking measurements or doing something. Is that anything you're aware of?
Which
Just upstream
water?
of our
Water.
dam. Oh, upstream of our dam.
Really?
Yeah. They had like vests on and these kind of crazy boats, like they were measuring things. I didn't know if
Oh,
that
you
was
know,
anything.
The Nashua River Watershed Association, they do these, they've been doing measurements. Remember Joanne
depth?
was doing one section at
Maybe
one
that's
point?
what it was.
Might have
She was
been
doing
that.
it from the
But they,
bank.
yeah, I think they have like different people get assigned this point or this point or this point. So it's right time of year.
It was odd and they were very official looking, so I just didn't know. We've had USGS out there in the
Yeah.
past when they're trying to, redo
Yeah.
the flood maps and all.
Flag them down next time.
What's that?
Flag them down.
No, I know.
Who are
I took
you?
a picture, but I couldn't tell who they were, so.
How are things going down there at the,
Things are good. Things are
They're
going,
good?
yeah, things are going really well. We recently ended our 10-year contract with Littleton Electric, and in the meantime, the Bay State Hydro Association has worked really hard to get net metering applicable to small hydro, which is a huge, huge financial help to us. So we rolled off the end of our asset contract with Littleton and applied and were accepted under the cap for the small hydro net metering program, and the difference for us in terms of income is significant. I mean, it's definitely gives us a little more elbow room. It's been a labor of love, let me tell you. I'm not sure it's a business I would have gotten into had I known really what I was going for, but
Who Who are your buyers? Is it only Littleton or?
Well, at the time, yeah, we had a contract for 10 years with Littleton, so Littleton was the,
Full output?
yeah, for everything that, well, everything beyond what we use.
Use?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it goes out to the grid, so. And then we also get renewable energy certificates for the power that we export. So we've got, there's actually 3 things you sell. You sell your electricity, you sell your capacity, and you sell your renewable energy certificates in the renewable market. So, and all those things, you know, fluctuate over time. So, anyway, things are going great.
Were you affected by last year's drought? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that was brutal.
I bet.
Hoping not one this year.
No, I mean, the flows have been great this year so far. And they've been steady. Like a lot of times we'll see, you know, huge peaks and valleys, but this is always a good time.
Yeah.
You know, our January to April's our best time. It's that July, August that we really dread, but let's keep our fingers crossed because, yeah, that was terrible for many reasons. All right, am I all set?
And
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll mail that out to you on Monday.
Excellent. Thank
Your
you
tours
very
are
much.
still open? at
Yeah,
any- what-
anytime,
at any
really.
time?
Yeah, come down anytime. I would drive a white Jeep Cherokee, so if you see it in the parking lot, come on down. I'm on the 3rd floor. Happy to show you around.
Yeah, never took you up last time, but maybe this time.
Yeah, please.
Great,
It'll be great.
thanks.
Thanks
All
for
right,
coming
everyone,
in.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Okey-dokey. Next item this evening is a public hearing, revisions to the regulations for administering the Town of Ayer wetlands bylaws. What do you got?
All right, so we've discussed these over the past several months, a few months, about what we're gonna do for changes. They've been part of the meeting packets off and on during those times. Since then, we've finalized what we're gonna be doing for changes, and these have been posted to the town's website. A copy's been in my office and with the town clerk for the past two to 3 weeks. So what we have proposed is an addition under section 1, general provisions, for advice from town staff to basically state any advice, opinion, or information given to the applicant by a Conservation Commission member outside of a meeting or by any agency officer or employee of the town shall not be considered as advisory only and not binding for the commission. We then have another addition under the permitting application and procedures. This is section 5. This will add a section B and C. B would be for site inspections, stating that site inspections on properties for which an application has been submitted or scheduled at the direction of the commission, if the areas subject to protection are on the permitted property cannot be adequately viewed, for example, periods of snow, vegetation is not present, the commission may determine the application is incomplete until the conditions change as such that meaningful site inspection can be conducted. And then part C states the commission may offer suggestions, advice for altering plans, proposals to reduce impact of wetland values and functions toward the goal of modifying the project to make it acceptable. However, the commission is not obligated to do so and shall not be bound to its decision-making by any prior suggestions or advice offered to the applicant. That's a good one. I did make a suggestion at one point, which I might do a friendly amendment on this to state the agent as well. I did at one point make a suggestion, I don't know if you remember, when I was out on site one time with Air Solar 2, to put the riprap around the outside of the culvert, which then they tried to tell me when they did, I shouldn't have suggested that because it made, change the plans in such way. So I might, if it's okay and we put it in the minutes, that I just make that smaller change to add the agent as well onto that, so it covers myself as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then we add on a new section, section 8, for performance standards and restrictions. This is something we already technically have as far as our bylaw that states the commission can request bonding for a project and or consultant. It just basically spells out what type, between surety, spells out exactly how bonding should work, and/or a covenant, which is typically when you hold land instead of money. So it spells those sections out for anybody that have questions, just to more clarification. If the commission does request some sort of bonding for a project, it covers us a little bit better.
Question?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't catch on this earlier, but
No.
just wondering, is security the right term?
Yes,
It is the
surety
right
is,
term?
yeah.
Surety,
Surety,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, and then in covenant,
Yes.
you got 2 different size fonts there.
I just noticed that.
Okay. Okay, good.
I just know that that's fine. Then we have a section 9, sequence of construction. And this basically will help cover us too when we have a project coming in. It just basically states that the applicant shall provide a detailed sequence of construction. So now when we have a project coming to us, we'll know exactly how it's going to be built. This will also come in handy, especially when we start doing the 40B on Fitchburg Road, because that is going to be phased. This will give us, they'll have to detail us how that phasing is going to work, which will be really helpful.
Yeah.
And we won't run into any problems going forward, and it'll make it bounding to their order that it was stated in our regulations, they have to give us those. And last but not least, which covers several pages, and I really don't want to read it all, is details on plans and application requirements. Basically stating how we want our plans to look, how many, what size the plans need to be. A lovely little note that one set of plans needs to be submitted to us in color. Typically now I go through and color them all by hand. This will help save that project, and it does make them a lot easier to read. I mentioned that part of it to our town engineer the other day, and he agreed that it does help. He goes, "Oh, I like that. It does make it really helpful." And they're already doing these in AutoCAD anyway. Just a
DPW.
matter, DPW. They're already doing these plans, drafting them in AutoCAD. It's just a matter of a few clicks of changes. It won't take them too long, I think, to color them in.
In the section 10, plans and application requirements, the heading, application needs an A between the C and the T. And requirements needs an I between the U and the R.
Yes.
And just the formatting on section 9 is indented a little bit more than section 10.
Yeah, the formatting is always a.
Things I'm sure you'll clean up.
Oh yes, formatting
have
is
to be
also it's one of those tricky ones. As soon as you go to do it, all of a sudden it all just messes up.
Yeah, and you move one thing and everything moves.
Everything
Yeah, it's fun. Don't put in an image. That'll mess it up.
Oh yeah, I use Publisher for that. That's much easier. And you convert that to Adobe, and it's just easier.
Just getting a little nitpicky, but
Yeah, no, go ahead.
just put the quote after the 11 and 17 so that they realize that truly is inches.
That's inches, yes. Yep, 11 by 17, yeah. And like I said, it goes through those plan specifications, and it really gives detail of showing the 25, 50, 100 foot for resource areas, riverfront, and vernal pools. That'll come in handy once all these go through. I'm going to be looking at fall town meeting at some point. We'll start talking about that in July, August, about changing our bylaws to create more restrictions for vernal pools.
For
Vernal pools?
vernal pools.
And looking at, there's a bunch of, I found in one of the classes from MACC, from their spring conference, a bunch of climate resiliency, climate change regulations, things we can do to help remediate that. So I'll be going through those and trying to incorporate those into our regulations, and some of those actually have to go into our bylaws because our definitions are in our bylaws. They're not in our regulations, so it has to go to town meeting to change those.
Okay.
Okay. As part also of the plan requirements, more detail as far as showing different features, cross-sections, slopes, and there's also the requirement to have a pre and post tree canopy plan, and I feel like that would be helpful, especially if and when anything for Stratton Hill comes before the commission. It'll show us what is being taken out. I think we'll be looking at subdivisions and or single house lots. Having that pre and post tree canopy will really be eye-opening, I think, to even anyone in the audience or who just for giggles wants to look at them just to see what happens when you clear a lot, what that difference makes. If anyone knows, I just do this because the whole pocket forest thing, the difference between shade and a full sun can be as much as 30 or 40 degrees. So when you're talking about losing that tree canopy, you're increasing the ground temperature by quite a bit. So everything we can do to keep that cooler and shaded is going to be great.
Yeah.
Hopefully having that requirement on the plan will bring the commission members, audience, whatever, to realize, oh, maybe we can try to save as more or replant what we can't just because of construction constraints leaving them. So hopefully that will help with that.
Yep.
On plan specification C number 3,
Yep.
just at the very end of that, I would put air wetlands bylaw, parentheses, article XXV1, and then a period.
Okay. Yep.
Good. As town council,
I sent these to Robert and Carly before we did the public hearing. I hadn't heard. I will double check and make sure that town council doesn't need to review them and verify them before they go. But I think we're fine. I mean, I did send them to them. They knew we were doing that. Carly had reviewed the public hearing notice to make sure it covered everything, so they know that these regulations are going through. But I will double check and verify with town council, but I'm assuming they're going to be fine.
maybe we can approve them and just have it contingent on the
Yeah.
town council thing and then if it.
And like I said, this is step one. We'll be looking at doing more after fall town meeting when we revise the bylaw to just add some stronger definitions. And I think there's a couple other things in there that I have to review, and then we'll add more to the regulations as along with that too, and see what else we can tighten stuff up on like that as well.
Okay. Any other discussion? So-
Good job.
Yeah, tons of work, thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you. Oh yeah, I used to see the file of towns I've looked at and read through. Typically a town's regulations are anywhere from 8 to 20 pages. Ours were like 5, and I'm like, ooh. When I first started, I go, I understand why, we put them through fast just to have them, because we had the bylaw and then everything with doing in COVID and stuff. So I'm like, okay, now's the time to try to beef them up a little bit. So this will help at least get some plan requirements in there to make things a little bit easier on that scope. Covers us in the winter time if we ever get anything, or early spring and someone wants to do a delineation, we can't say anything.
Right.
It helps with that. So, and then we can build up from there after our busy summer season of permits.
Yeah, I think we had gotten what we did do done because Panther Place was.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I mean, I was working in Littleton.
Yeah.
I tried with them for a very long time to get them to hurry up and try to do some regulation. We didn't have a bylaw. We didn't have regulation. We had regulation. We didn't have a bylaw, and they kept pushing it off. And because we didn't have a bylaw, we didn't have a no touch. We just had a policy, and we had a project go through that the edge of the foundation was 5 feet from the wetland. And more of those happened, and shortly after I left, they finally got their bylaw in place. But it was, I tried every meeting, like, we got to do this. They're like, yeah, we'll get to it. And yeah, 5 foot foundation was 5 foot from the edge of wet.
That's pretty close.
Yeah, it sure is.
I don't know why the last page, but all your items are tabbed in or something. I don't know if you noticed that compared to the previous page.
Are they?
See the beginning of them?
Oh yes, I do. Yeah, it's the formatting. I got to play with the formatting on it. I'll make sure it's all nice and even. But yeah, now I see it.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happens. It gets to a new page and gets a mind of its own.
Thanks.
Or sometimes if you just worked on a document, edited it a lot, then it starts to say, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, what's up with Word? It's becoming AI, I guess.
Pardon me? Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve the revisions to the regulations for administering the Town of Ayer Wetlands bylaw contingent on review by town council?
Yeah. Just to verify that they don't need anything or have any comments or changes. I'll make the minor change to add the agent onto the commission when it comes to suggestions, plans, and the minor spelling errors. And when I send it to them, I'll say, I know there's formatting concerns, they'll get corrected so we don't hold it up.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously.
I just hope no one who wanted to view them was colorblind because I did put that in red. I thought of that after.
They could have reached out.
They could have. Nobody did. Nobody asked, which made me happy because that was,
Next time, red and underline.
yeah.
Maybe it's like different shades of, like a color blindness presents differently.
Yeah, it does present differently for everybody, so next time I just gotta underline them.
Or italics.
Yeah. Yeah, this made it worse.
Just giving you
So
options.
somebody
Yes.
who's really, really colorblind wouldn't see that difference.
They
at
don't
all.
see red. There's one for red, there's one for, they don't see blue, you don't see green, yeah, there's all
Red,
different
green.
ones, yeah.
How do you see stop signs?
Or so it says stop.
Don't you worry about it.
Well, neither. Traffic lights.
Well, it's the same order,
or
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except
I say, 'cause, yeah,
for one intersection in city of Syracuse where they flipped it upside down.
Why?
Ah, tricky.
Italian. Italian or Irish, what is it? You know, where they put the green over the red.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure, I'm not going there. I'd cause an accident because I would just see the top one and be like, stop, and the bottom one, oh my God.
I worked with a guy, and he was the maintenance guy at the Emerson Umbrella, and he painted the bathroom thinking it was white. He was colorblind, and it was a real shocking pink. It was the women's bathroom, and they all came after him. How dare you paint it pink? It's like, I didn't know it was pink. I thought it was white. It was some old paint that he had.
That's funny.
Funny for me. Anyway, Conservation Office updates.
Okay, so there's a couple. I got a call on Tuesday from Clean Harbors. They're a waste cleanup company.
Clean harvest.
Clean Harbors?
Harbors.
Yep.
Okay.
Catania Oil had a spill of peanut oil on site last week, and they noticed some of the peanut oil in the adjacent pond in the back there. So they needed to come in and clean and remove that. I issued an emergency certificate. They were bringing in booms to put into the water, a skimming truck to skim the water to get the oil out of it. They had to clean some brush in order to get the equipment into the pond to do that. Storing a large tank on the property within the buffer in order to, they have test holes they have to dig to see where it is in the ground, but they found it in the water, made the suggestion to the Clean Harbors to double check because that wetland area there keeps continuing to connect through culverts under the railroad tracks and eventually makes it all the way to Spec Pond Treatment Plant. So they investigated, it did make it into the second set of wetlands off the other side of the railroad tracks, did not go past that one. So they have booms in both outlets to keep anything from traveling any further. And they continue to clean up and they've been giving me, they'll give me updates as they move on with that. So that was fun on Tuesday. So I've never been to Catania.
Did they say how much?
They estimated it was 9,000 gallons. They were able
That's
to.
not a little bit.
Yeah. Well, out of a 20,000 gallon tank, it was, yeah. They were able to retrieve just over 1,000 gallons. So there's about, yeah, there's about 7,000 gallons, 8,000 gallons not accounted for. So it is a lot. It's a lot of peanut oil, and it smelled like peanut oil outside. It was due to a faulty valve on the train car when they went to go pump it out, that it just poured out.
But you're saying didn't get to Spectacle Pond?
It hasn't, no. It stayed in that first wetland. So directly behind Catania and Nasoya, there is, and where the flour mill is down Nemco Way, there is a singular wetland there. And then it crosses the railroad tracks for the, I think that's the commuter rail. And then you got the other wetland that then on that side. The far end of that is where Speck Pond is, and then that one, we went out to the culvert replacement. It goes under, it goes to a third wetland. So they did find it just over into the second one, but it's just over the railroad tracks, it just came in, so they did put a boom around it. And it was a small amount, they hadn't seen anything else. Luckily, we haven't got any heavy rain yet, so hopefully they're able to retrieve and clean up as much as they can before rain comes through this weekend, because that's my concern, is if it's in the ground when it rains, it's gonna eventually seep out
Yeah.
to the groundwater.
You let Dan know.
Dan was aware, so
Okay.
when I went out on site, I asked who, because I hadn't heard of it, who knew. If they contacted Board of Health, they contacted DPW, they contacted the fire department. The fire department was aware, DPW was aware, and the state was aware. The state has been notified on several different agencies as far as the state goes, and Natural Heritage, because the pond does have endangered species in it. While we were on site on Tuesday, there was a turtle just sitting on a log right next to where all the oil was, and it didn't seem to be, it was a painted turtle, didn't seem to be affected by it at all, but I figure it's a food grade oil, but I'm not a wildlife expert, I don't know. But the state is going out on site and investigating it as well. The Department of Public Health and I'm assuming Mass DEP will be out as well on there. So I'm just getting the updates. I'm like, just do what you need to do. Let me know what's going on. Let's just clean it up. So the state's going to be the one's going to be going after them more than I will.
I was just more thinking about like if it got into Speck Pond,
Yeah.
if it got into the new filtration,
That's
could cause an issue, you know?
That's what I was worried about. That's why I made the suggestion. I'm like, you're gonna want to go down that route. So we sat there with the phone so I could show her on the assessor's map like what way you need to go. I'm like, I think that's owned by the DPW. Just let them know. So they did, and they investigated it to see, and it did go through that culvert, and they did boom it off.
They
so.
detect it. Is it a sheen?
It's a sheen on the water. Yeah, at the very edge by Catania, it was orangey
Yeah.
in the shallow part, but further out they could see pockets of the sheen. So they're doing their best to boom it and clean that up. So if I get any more updates on that, I will let you guys know. But yeah, the town is all. And when I came back too, I made sure I let Robert and Carly know if they didn't know what had happened on site. So we all know. So I just it wasn't.
When did this happen?
They said it happened last. So I went out Tuesday. They said it happened last week. So I think it was over. I think it was close to a week before they noticed in the water. Which, I mean, again, that's.
It's a broken valve. You see it pouring out.
You see it
quick,
pouring
like-
out, but the fact that they were So I think it just they
Should've let
waited
you
till
know a
they
little
got
sooner
somebody
than
out
that.
on site to clean it up, and it was like, oh wow, we should notify. I don't know, but again, with the state being involved, they'll go after because they have all their permits and stuff
Okay,
through state
yeah.
that they can go after them more than what we have. Like with New Soy over time, they have issues there. Department of Public Health is the one that really deals with it more than the town side because they have all their permits through them. And same with, if anything got into the stormwater, I mean, they have all their wastewater permits that they'll just get through that. So
Yeah.
I'm confident that we're doing the right thing on this end, and it'll get resolved.
What was the date on the emergency certification?
It was Tuesday, which was the 25th. Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
The town meeting threw me off. That day too, on Tuesday, I went out to 71 West Main Street. A gentleman's removing 2 dead trees behind the property, and met with Tree Masters, I think is the name of the company. They're dead. These are dead trees, and it's just 2, and there's multiple trees back there, so they're leaving a lot. And the gentleman had no problem leaving a 6 to 10 foot stag on the trees, so there'll be quite a bit of a tree left. And they're taking it out with a crane, and there's plenty of pavement for that crane to be parked on. That it's not going to be an issue, and they'll fall towards the parking lot. Nothing will go towards the brook, and we'll be good on that end. I emailed all of you. We got the amended notice of intent for Air Solar 2. That'll be on the next agenda on May 11th.
And the town Facebook page a couple days ago, somebody posted a copy of the GPR notice. Does anybody know where this is being built on Washington Street? I haven't seen it listed on a town website. Somebody said, there's one already behind Madigan Lane. Are they expanding? So I did
Their
it.
notice. What did their notice say?
I can't tell because the
Can't.
picture
It's
just
so
cut
bad,
off.
yeah.
So I just said this is for the existing solar project behind Madigan Lane. Access off Washington Street as you go up the hill toward the hospital. It is capital letters, not
New.
expanding, but they made enough significant changes to the approved plans without notice to town that the Conservation Commission required them to submit an amended notice of intent. Should be on our agenda for first meeting in May. Our agent, Heather Hampson, I misspelled.
That's okay.
Typo. Hampton.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Finger, who started with us last June, has been monitoring this site weekly, at least, to try to enforce compliance.
Yep, and so it'll be on agenda for the 11th. The planning board have it on their agenda because they have amended site plan application for their meeting on May 23rd. And they are hiring Green International to peer review the plans and stormwater calculations. I requested of the planning board at their meeting on Tuesday that when they meet with the consultant, with the peer reviewer, the consultant, Green International, with staff, that I be included in those since I'm the person that's been on site the most. And so they will do that. So I'll be involved with the planning board in getting the plans peer reviewed. So that is that. Also at the next meeting, we have 2 projects for the DPW, 1 notice of intent off of Wright Road, and 1 RDA for work on I think some drainage and some bridge, the crossing from Marshall Street and 3rd Street across the Grove Pond area there. So those will be on the next agenda. And as I mentioned at the last meeting on Friday, the 21st, was the Earth Day event that was held by the Devon's Enterprise Commission on McPherson Road that I attended. It was a lot of fun. I did, as the commission suggested, and brought the Grove Pond sign. One person did scan the QR code and it worked, so she was very proud of that. A couple people didn't know where Grove Pond was, so I explained it to them. I got 2 people to sign up for the Friends of Pine Meadow, and explain that to them quite a bit. And more people were, talking about it, and so they'll suggest it to friends and stuff. So there's a lot of talk about it. So I think we'll be okay as far as that goes. Everyone seems to be very excited about it. I have ideas for when we do it next year. On what we can do. It was the first year for me, first year for Dan, the DPW there as well, and Beth Sudemeyer, who's a resident in town who works for Devon's Enterprise Commission. It was her first year doing the event as well. So I think there's a lot of learning that can be done with it and improving. It was only the 2nd year that they've done it, but it was a good time. It was a gorgeous day. It wasn't too hot. I got some free trees that I can try to plant in my house, pawpaw trees. I'm going to try to grow in containers in my house along with my lemon trees and avocado. Maybe I'll have a fruit salad.
Hey, what's the NOI off Wright Road?
I believe it's a pump station improvements. I have to double check.
Okay. That's the DPW one?
Yeah, DPW. There are two for DPW. So it worked out great because the 10 engineer Matt dropped it off the RDA, and Ty and Bond dropped off the NOI, and I'm like, oh, do both the same night. And they'll be here, and they'll be easy instead of having to do two different ones. So they'll be first before we do air solar too. But yeah, the Earth Day event went well. Then the Pocket Forest planting day is Saturday. Anybody wants to be there? Corner of Main Street and East Main Street. You can park I would suggest parking at the library. First planting time is at 10 to 12, and then again from 1 to 2. There's lots of work to do, lots of things to plant. It should be hopefully a nice day. I unfortunately cannot make it, but I've been for all the other events, and
Is this site like all prepped and everything?
it is. The DPW is supposed to be prepping it, has rototilled it, has brought in organics to get the soil going. There are 4 or 5 rain barrels already on site to help with watering. I do believe the fire department's supposed to be filling those, so we'll have water on site.
Might have it
I was wondering how they get in the rain
on site
barrels.
as well.
Where's the water going to get into the rain barrels?
Yeah, but I think the fire department has been asked, or going to be asked, hopefully they've already been asked, to fill those. And so that will be to water the site through the hopefully first year or so. I mean, obviously we'll have to refill the rain, but whatever.
Is
But
there a rain date for that?
I do not believe so. So hopefully it's not, I don't think it's going to be too rainy in the morning.
Makes it easier to plant.
Inch and a
We're to
quarter.
plant the right.
It's 10 to noon and
The first, yeah, the 2 hour period. So the first planting time, the shift one is from 10 to noon. The second time is from 1 to 3. If I have the times and the times wrong, please forgive me, but there is a link to
Quarter
the
inch
to the Pocket
one day
Forest
and then half inch the
website
next.
from our webpage on the town's website. And it should be on the website anyway as well.
yeah. Okay.
And yeah, that's it.
Is that?
I had one question. At town meeting, one of the DPW projects, I think was one of the capital things, was for repairing Flanagan Pond Dam.
Yeah.
Is that the one by
The-
Oak Ridge and
That's the one from
Groton
Oak Ridge, come from the one from Pine Meadow. That one's in failure,
Harvard? Yeah.
so it has to be done.
Wasn't that on private property though, or was this?
I think that is the one that's on private property,
It
but
has to
because
be.
the town was the one that received the notice that the dam's in failure, I think it's one of those things like, well, the state says it's gotta be fixed, and if you leave it up, obviously to a private owner, it's not gonna get done, so we just do it.
And if it fails, there goes Oak Ridge.
If it fails, I couldn't
Yeah.
even imagine. It was Oak Ridge, not even Oak Ridge, it's just everything, because it's gonna flow from Flanagan under Main Street all the way to East
Yeah.
Main Street to Grove
Grove
Pond.
Pond.
I mean, the Grove Pond will be happy, it'll be a lot higher, but the people live on Grove Pond, I don't think will be very happy.
Harmony Park. You wouldn't have to do vacuum, pulling out the PCBs with vacuum. You just let it flow down.
No, I wouldn't have to, but I'm sure they've already fertilized all the baseball fields, and I don't want any of that going to the pond.
Jeez. So now you bring that up, like, so why do we fertilize the baseball fields?
Who thought it was a good idea to put a baseball fields next to a pond in the first place?
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Just make it all turf, solve all of our conservation problems. No water, no chemicals. That'll pass town meeting real easy.
There's issues with turf too.
There is, has to be vacuumed. With a special vacuum.
Well, and there's that one turf that was like causing cancer in all of the soccer players.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that rubber crown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, yeah.
That's not good either.
And isn't artificial turf? It's not permeable, is it? Or is it?
It is.
It is. It is
It's,
permeable. You have to, but
okay.
if you don't vacuum it and get the sand out, then it doesn't become it anymore. That's right. And you have to have a special vacuum to do it. It's all bad. It's all bad. But I mean, it's a beautiful park. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to badmouth Brony Park. I think it's a beautiful park. It's a beautiful location. I don't like fertilizers. Is basically my point.
So member updates. Jen, anything for us?
Nope.
Jess?
No updates, but our neighbor Andrew, who's very interested in the Friends of Flanagan
Yes.
Pond, was saying, "Let me know when you hear something." I'm thinking we should probably, maybe not next meeting, but maybe after that, schedule a meeting where we started off.
Yes.
with,
Yeah.
and get all interested parties.
I was mentioning to people on Earth Day that we're going to try to do the second meeting in
in May.
is what my
Yeah.
hope was. But, well, I think we're going to have to see how the hearings go on the 11th. I don't know how detailed and how long, what we're going to be doing. If Air Solar is going to ask for a continuance right away from the 11th to the first meeting in June, stating that, because since the planning board's going to meet, I mean, they'll meet before ours, but I mean, I just don't know how those are going to go, and I don't want to cram three notices plus those people in at the same time, because I don't. For one thing, they're going to have to either someone's going to be sitting through all of that, and I don't want to do that. So it might end up being the first meeting in June.
Okay.
I think that might be better. But one of the gentlemen that did sign up for it on Earth Day is an avid bird watcher, and he does bird watching things already up there. So I had him sign up so we could have him do a bird watching, like guided walk up there, which would be good.
That would be awesome.
Scavenger hunt.
And then I mentioned it to Jonathan Krantz from the planning board, and he does like foraging and mushrooms and stuff too, so maybe he could do something with that there too.
He's a fun guy.
He's a fun guy.
No, we never did that mushroom foraging.
Fun guy. Fun guy.
I got it.
Fun guy.
Fun guy. So, okay, sorry.
I think that was the pandemic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like the last meeting before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway, so sorry, but there's, good.
Oh, boy.
How about you, Mark? Got anything for us? Sign? Flanagan's?
Picked up the signs, got them at my house. Haven't called you yet.
I'll help you.
Yeah, we just got to take the old ones down because I went to the office, grabbed the box of bolts. We don't have any more bolts. We just got nuts. So we gotta take the bolts out of the old signs and press because they're the
Yeah.
I want to say case bolts, not case bolts, but
Carriage.
carriage bolts. Thank you. Yeah, so they're carriage bolts with the. So we got to get that, repress them in, and then go mount them. So
Gotcha.
I don't know. I was thinking maybe Saturday. It's up to you.
I've got something at 10 o'clock. It's going to take me 45 minutes to get to, so if it's early,
Oh, okay. I mean, if you meander on down and grab the one on the causeway there, I'll grab the one by the pumping station, and then, maybe I'll just swing by, pick it up, and then I'll press them in and out, and then,
okay. I'll grab it tomorrow.
yeah. You take it down, I can pick it up from you, and then I can just go with, Kelly and I, we can just go mount them. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
Put a little sign up that says "Will return." I don't think someone stole it.
All the fishermen, I think I'm stealing the sign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can give you my badge if you want.
Oh, you say,
To be
yeah.
official.
Just wear your reflective vest and they'll think, and have a clipboard with you.
Have a
and
clipboard?
You can do anything you want.
With a hat?
I have a hard hat in my office. You can borrow it.
I'm going to wear a hard hat.
But yeah, so picked up the signs. Don't want to do that. Got you the invoice. Hopefully that got paid. Sent? Yes, maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Warrants this week. So you brought it to me the day after the warrants. It'll get paid.
Okay.
It'll get paid.
Okay.
I sent the new report, the new table to the watershed, and I think she had some comments, and I think some numbers were off. I got to fix those, but it's just a matter of fixing the budget numbers.
Okay. And did Lucy respond to anything about the returning of the funds or anything? Or
I got to give them an idea of what we're going to do. I'm waiting for them to approve that before I give them our suggestion for the funds, because I
Okay.
think to them it's just like, it is what it is. We can't obviously spend on anything besides that until they give us or approval. So it's just one of those things that just sits there until we figure that out. So I'm waiting to get the grant report done and finalized, and then I'll make the suggestion that we
I
try
guess
to-
there's just say no, just give it back.
Yeah, I mean,
You were annoying. Your group was annoying.
I can't imagine we were the most annoying.
I can't, yeah. I mean, we went under budget, so it can't be that bad.
It's true.
We're trying to we want to return the money or ask to use it for something else. I feel like we could be annoying if we didn't use it all.
Or we asked for more.
Yeah. They should be impressed by how little we spent.
They were. They were like,
Oh,
wow,
that's
you really didn't, because the camera ready, and I had to ask Cindy what that was. I go, well, that was the QR code thing, right? I said, yeah. Like, you did that in-house, didn't you? She goes, yeah. I go, well, there's another $125 we didn't spend. Because she just did that, so I just assumed, whatever her salary is times whatever, it's just an in-kind match. It doesn't cost them anything in the grant, so. I mean, yeah, it was a bunch of it that just didn't get used.
Yeah.
It's still, well, I guess this would be the moment to say, when you're coming down Oak Ridge from Groton Harvard Road, and there's the trail head to conservation land, and across the way is that little, I don't know if it's a pumping station or.
Right, yep.
Yeah, that would have been a good spot for a Flanagan Pond sign.
For a sign
Yeah, one of our signs,
next to the pumping station?
right on the side of the road there.
I feel like when you have them on the side of the road, because you have that QR code and stuff, it's
Pretty far away from that.
everyone's just going to see it, right? No one's going to get out of their car and go, oh, QR code, I should scan that.
But you have a lot of people who walk down that road.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, we got a couple extra signs, if you don't mind them being misspelled.
Not going there.
Sharpie?
Just get some duct tape and just fix it.
Anyway,
Yeah. Anything else, Mark?
No. Our next meeting is the 11th, though, right?
Correct.
Yep.
I may not be here.
and that's your first official chair.
So does that mean I'm in charge?
Yeah.
So I need everybody's
Air Solar
support on
2
Air
now.
Solar 2. I'm very nervous about Air Solar 2.
How about you, George?
One last thing.
Yes.
Have you been up to grid sites at all?
To where?
The
We'll get to you.
tower replacements up the hill, up off Park, and then also behind the air substation. Have you been out there, checked on them at all? Or
I look at them every day when I drive by, and I look at the ones on Westford Road, and I just go, huh, okay. They're in their right of way. They're in replacing existing. The equipment's not out of it.
Just asking.
Yeah. No, I look at it because I saw the new ones on Park Street. I'm like, oh, is that where that was supposed to go? I'm like, well, technically, because on my downtime, I read the Wetlands Protection Act, and I've only ever made it through the exceptions, but I feel like that's the most important one to keep reading over and over again to understand. And as long as they're in their existing right of way, technically it's exempt. So,
But I did go yesterday because I had to do something else.
yeah.
So I was behind the air substation. And I did run into the guy from BSC who was doing a turtle sweep. So I just thought
Yeah.
I'd let you guys know that.
Yeah, they're out there constantly. They did come because they are going to have to extend that substation, and they came to a land use meeting about a month or so ago when we had the power outage, and they're going to have to make it bigger and encroach into the wetlands, and there wasn't any elevations on the plan, and I noticed it. That's two different elevations, so they're going to have to technically fill. It's not just like extend and put a fence. It's fill. And I told them, I'm going to tell you right now, like, I know you're allowed to do these things. I'm like, the conservation's not going to want you to have that paved. You're going to have to do some sort of permeable surface if you're going to the wetland like that. So I don't think that project's going to come before us probably until the fall, because they're going to have to figure all that stuff out. But I did see them out surveying it, I think a week or so ago. So they're probably trying to do the work now. But that will come, and they're going to try to extend that, and that makes me nervous, is because they are going to have to fill the wetland to do so. And I did make the comment, I'm like, well, where are you going to replicate it? If you're filling it, you have to replicate it. I don't know where you're going to do that on that site. So there's those questions to be looked at when that does come. That's a big substation. It's a big station. It's not compared to Westford Road. That one's, but the Park Street one's getting bigger.
Yeah. I was watching them take down some of the poles and stuff too. Oh, actually, it's true. Got a real nice picture of a woodpecker hole.
Oh, and one of the
Amazing how
poles?
big it was. Yeah. Oops, that's not it. Yeah, look at the size of that one.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
It's impressive.
Yeah. Look at it. It must have lived in it.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a liver.
It wasn't just looking for food. It was living in that one.
I pressed something,
Oh,
just
me.
fixed it.
Yeah.
It's like when you go by and see, if you go along Grove Pond from the community gardens and walk along that side, that right of way there, you'll see some beavers got tired of chewing on some trees and walked away.
Yeah, I know. It's like amazing the trees are still standing.
Yep.
Yeah, that the way
There's
they're,
quite a
they're
few
shaped.
on that side of Grove Pond. And you can see stuff on the other side too. Like, oh, they went over there too.
Yeah, it's funny because this one too. So it would have been like that, you know, and at the top of it, you can see there was beehive in there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like a little beehive up on top
Oh,
there.
that's
So.
it. They're using the poles. Nature's just finding a way.
Yeah,
Just living with it. And now they're replacing it with steel.
holes in that one.
Yeah.
You can see the big darkness. It's just like whew, amazing the amount. As they were taking them down, and I was quite a ways away, and I was like, you could really see all the holes in these structures. So,
Wow.
pretty good that they didn't fall down. That would have been really bad. Anyways, that's all I got.
Got anything for us, George?
So, after town meeting, do we have a plan for how we're going to look into alternate weed control methods?
We do. We have, possibly, we have, I had a conversation with Susan Turdella Williams today, and she's going to hook us up with a fellow from Harvard who did drawdown in a pond in Harvard. I forget what the pond it was, what the name of it was.
Bear
But they
Hill
had a pump
Pond.
station.
Yeah.
They had a pump station installed. They drew it down, and then just took the weeds out when it was empty. And she's gonna contact this fellow and have him come and talk to us. I think it's gonna be apples and oranges. I mean, it's very different, I think.
Where did they put the water that they draw out?
They just pumped it around the dam, and
Really?
yeah.
I think the complexity for us would be it's a chained pond system.
Yeah, that's the issue with the
Yeah.
drawdown.
We are supposed to meet at some point with Dan Skalkwick
Yeah.
and about the beaver plant, and this was something we were going to mention to him, like, as an engineer,
Yeah.
is this even remotely feasible? Not to mention what the cost would be.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been researching other lakes committees throughout the state. So as part of the Earth Day, I made a little sheet of tips homeowners can do to eliminate their impact on ponds, which I gotta post to the website and see how about getting it mailed to the residents around the pond. To try to help with that, because when Joe was here, he said that, the phosphorus wasn't high, but it's something to be monitored and it could be fixed with certain things. So I have that. Hopefully get one or two people to follow that, and that would help on that scope. But I'm trying to see, what I can find from other lakes committees and see what they do for their pond treatments, because unfortunately with us being the town we don't have a clean lakes committee. We don't have a lakes committee. There's no Sandy Pond Lake Committee. That's a private entity that does all this stuff and collects fees and can do these things. It's just us. But they would have had the time and the money to do that. So like the informational sheet that I found was the Quinsigamond Lake in Worcester. And they had quite a bit of stuff. So I'm going to see what I can find from bigger ones like that to see what they do for treatments and see. Because if the consensus is that they're all doing these chemical treatments because you get to the point where it's like you weigh the good versus the bad.
Right.
And you just, unfortunately, it is what it is. But I think as long as people know we're doing our best to research it and we're trying to figure it out, like, it's unfortunate what situation we have, because you can't draw down Sandy Pond because it goes into Flanagan. So you have to draw down both Flanagan and Sandy Pond, and if you do that, someone better go talk to the Parks Commission and tell them they're not going to have a beach to swim in for the summer.
Yeah, and then,
Well, I mean, just like they do construction in rivers, I mean, you could build a coffer and basically pump out the coffer, right?
Yeah.
Around it.
Section.
And again, and then you're
Yeah.
doing that, but what impact does that have on the wildlife and everything else in there?
Yeah.
Is
So that's a given.
you know what I mean? Like that's what you find the alternative and you weigh your pros and cons and go, no, this is the better of them all. And that's what we
that
gotta
wouldn't
do.
just be pumping down Sandy Pond. I mean, it would have impacts all along the whole chain down to the Nashville River. We would have to have that studied before we could do that.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is.
Well, I
so-
guess what I'm saying is like, you would parse out a section,
Yeah.
right, and close that section, pump that out. You're not going to pump it perfectly out, but maybe you get it down so that it's only a
Yeah.
foot deep, and you can get in there and do whatever you're going to do. I guess.
Then
I
that's
suppose
dredging, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of.
that's not.
Yeah.
If you don't,
Weed removal.
dredging is pulling right back the dirt, right, pulling the dirt
Yeah.
straight out.
Yeah.
But if you're just going down enough to be able to grab weeds,
Plants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but
you
then
know,
the
different than
issue
the water
comes
chestnut pull, I suppose.
when you're doing that. Is the sediment concerned? Is the sediment contaminated? We have to get that tested to prove what's in the sediment. We'd have to hire someone to do that testing, because like UMass Extension, when I contacted them from when Susan was first here, they don't do it for municipalities. They'll do it for Clean Lakes committees. They won't do it for towns. So I had to then find someone that would test the sediment to ensure, and then when you hand pull them, you got to keep that blocked off long enough for the sediment to go right before you do another one. That would take so long to do it that way. When you look at figuring you're going to stir all that up and has to resettle before you able to, because if you did it all and then not let it do that, all that sediment's then going to draw downstream.
Well, it's worth having this fellow come in and just.
Oh, yeah, it's
just
worth
get some
having the
information.
conversations and figure it
We're-
out.
We're doing our due diligence and, I don't know, do you have any ideas?
Not really, but I was thinking if we can come up with something that supposedly will work, we could do, we've done in the past where we have 2 warrant articles, and if the first one passes, then the second one
It's withdrawn.
is tossed out. So, you know, so we put the high price one first,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see.
and, you know, if they want it, they have it. If not, then we move on to the chemical treatment.
Yeah.
The concerns at town meeting were all about the chemicals, it wasn't about the cost.
Correct.
Until you
Although, we didn't
bring out
get
the
to the
cost.
cost.
Well, no, I know that like doing it this alternative
Yeah.
way would be super expensive, but
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
brought up about our warrant was just about the
And,
chemicals.
and the warrant article actually just states pond treatment. It doesn't state what we use for pond treatment, so we can actually use that money next year if we want, if we could somehow figure it out for non-chemicals. That warrant article is just for pond treatment. It's just the concern is now, right now, we use the chemicals
Yeah,
because
which-
that's our option that we have.
The other thing I was thinking is, even if we wind up where really the only feasible one is to keep using the chemicals, are we at a point with regular treatments, and water and wetland seems to be pay attention more than previous places, where we could say, take Sandy Pond and Pine Meadow Pond and skip a year, do every other year on those 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could
get
do
to that
that on
point.
Flanagan, but.
I think it's just a matter of we gotta see how
Or
this year
alternate.
goes and what
Yeah.
we're looking at and what we've found for alternatives, because I mean, we gotta see what happens in Littleton with their
Yeah, they
method
won't
too.
know till towards August for
Yeah.
Spec Pond.
But I mean,
Yeah.
anyone that drives down 119 sees it from the road. That's that waterway there in Littleton across from Agway. That's the pond. So you see it.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
Ready for what?
Skipping a year?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm wondering
I don't think
if
we have
we,
a long enough track record,
No.
especially with
Yeah.
the drought last year and the
and
the algae bloom.
Yeah.
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 And-
I want to see what
yeah.
happens this year.
you do need to amend the order of conditions sometime
Okay.
June-ish.
Oh, for the to
If
include
we
that.
had another bloom,
Okay,
yeah,
that's right. I remember that because I saw that one tonight.
yeah. Hopefully we won't, but,
Hopefully it stays wet enough, and you know, like I said, when I found all those things to give out to the homeowners, hopefully if I send that out, it'll be an awakening to people. Like I said, I just started using all natural cleaners and stuff too, and then you read this, oh, use that. I go, oh yeah, because the detergents have phosphates, and even though it goes into the stormwater, like, you know, it gets to water somewhere at some point. So, you know, if you use plant-based laundry detergents and stuff, it keeps phosphates out of your water. Which I didn't realize why it was bad. I just knew it was bad, so I changed it a long time ago. Now it's like, oh, that's why it's bad.
Anything else, George?
No.
I got nothing. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously.